In the beginning, there was the Word. And whether or not you're religious, you need to keep this in mind. By the way, I'm Chuck West of CW Brand Solutions. I want to give you a quick reminder about how to stay on track creatively when going up against great design projects, great branding projects, any kind of design or branding that you do. Of course, we know that the end product of graphic design and branding tends to be something visual, whether it be typography or photography or an image of something or an amalgamation of things. But when it comes to conceptualizing good design, matter of fact, let me give you an example. So let's say the Dua Lipa comes to me and says, okay, I want you to design a logo for me. I want you to design a poster for me. I want you to design tickets and everything for my brand as I'm doing this Sunny Hill Festival out in Kosovo. And I say, okay. And then I walk away without asking her any questions. Now, I think I know Dua Lipa pretty well because of her music. I listen to it and it's great, love it. And now I'm like, all right, go right to the sketchbook and I try to draw some things out. Maybe I get an idea for a couple sketches, but I get stuck rather quickly. Or, worse yet, I go in all sorts of different directions, and when I go back to Dua Lipa, she's not satisfied. Now, how can we narrow down the ideas while at the same time being able to branch out with all different kinds of ideas? We have to use the word, as they call it. You'll hear this from advertisers like the late David Ogilvy in his book on advertising. You'll hear it from, there are a number of art directors who work with copywriters for a reason. Because in order to get a great visual, not just a great visual, but a visual that really matches the concept that we're trying to bring out for the client, that really matches the idea, we have to know what that idea is. And it helps to write that idea out in plain English or plain whatever language you speak before we try to make an image out of it, right? So for me, it helps to ask a number of questions, learning certain information about the client and what their audience likes and dislikes and what their goals are, what they're trying to achieve. But it's always important to pick out very specific adjectives and verbs from your chat with the client. What kind of words really seem to match their identity? So, as an example, I was on a call with a potential client a little while ago who was running an apparel shop, and he said he wanted his customers to feel happy when they put on the clothes. Okay, happy is a word, of course, but happy is a very general word. Happy could mean so many different things. What kind of happy? Do you want them to feel slightly happy? Do you want them to feel ecstatic? Do you want them to just have a nice smile on their face? Do you want them to feel jumpy? There are so many other words that can really narrow down the kind of emotions a client wants to communicate with their brand and their design. So, matter of fact, let's do this. Let us go to thesaurus.com and I'll share my screen with you guys real quick. Let's get on Thesaurus right now. Okay, here we are, thesaurus.com. Now let's type in happy and see what kind of synonyms we get. Synonyms. Okay, so for synonyms for happy, we have cheerful, contented, delighted, ecstatic, elated, glad, joyful, joyous, jubilant, lively, merry, overjoyed, peaceful, pleasant, pleased, thrilled, upbeat. So many different synonyms for happy. Again, when we say a word or use an adjective like happy, since it's such a common word, since it's such a commonly used word, we want to get more specific, and that's why we're looking at synonyms. See, words like Mary that you see right here, that makes you think of a certain thing. It makes you think of a certain time. It might make you think of the holidays, make you think of Christmas, might make you think of sleigh bells and reindeer and such. Overjoyed might make you feel like jumping up and down. In some cases, it might make you feel, if you're religious, it might make you think about God, because in the Bible they talk about joy and feeling joy. With words like peaceful, you may imagine being in a forest. You may imagine taking in a deep breath. You might imagine taking in nature and just being completely at ease and letting your shoulders relax and letting your knees bend a little bit. With words like ecstatic, you might think of jumping up and down at the party. You might think of loud music at the club. Also, different colors and textures come from different words, okay? Words like Mary, you might think of a candy cane kind of pattern or a really smooth kind of texture. With words like delighted, you might think of more of an airy texture. With words like thrilled, more emotive typography. All sorts of different things can come from different words, even from words that mean the same thing. So always make sure that when you design for somebody, you can get a really good description of what they want their customers to feel or how they want their brand to feel to the people who see it, who may hear it or touch it or however they experience it. When you keep this in mind, you'll have a better chance of coming up with the right ideas. And you can use those right words to get those right ideas and find different ways to branch out of words like merry or overjoyed or peaceful. Let's go even further. Let's say that you want your brand to make people feel peaceful. Okay, what kind of story do you see in your mind when it comes to the word peaceful? Do you see yourself sitting on a hill meditating? Do you just see yourself at ease because maybe you got a bill paid off or you let some burden off? Maybe you took some weight off of your shoulders, or maybe you had some kind of epiphany that made you realize that everything was going to be okay. You overcame some kind of obstacle that now you can relax. What is your idea of peaceful? What stories come to mind when it comes to your brand giving peace? Peace of mind, as you might say. So never forget, it begins with the word. The right words, building the right story, creating the right emotions and feelings to the right kinds of people, i.e., your brand's audience. In the beginning, there was the word, and in the end, there was great design. As always, I'm Chuck West. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.